The 90s were a great time for cinema. We were graced with so many iconic movies from all genres, and for this video I wanted to revisit Luc Besson's 1994 action thriller Leon, a movie that fuses American and French cinema styles to create an action-packed and thought-provoking thrill ride that also challenges us with some very uncomfortable and unconventional themes. Just a heads up, there will be spoilers ahead, so let's dive in. Leon is the titular character who works as a highly skilled and sought-after hitman in New York City. Down the hall from his apartment lives Matilda, a 12-year-old girl who hates her abusive and dysfunctional family, save for her 4-year-old brother who she loves and adores. One fateful day while Matilda is out grocery shopping, her entire family is murdered by corrupt DEA agents, led by Norman Stansfield. Matilda desperately seeks refuge with Leon, who goes against his instincts and provides a sanctuary for her. When Matilda discovers what Leon does for a living, she becomes obsessed with learning his trade and exacting revenge on those responsible for her brother's death. Leon reluctantly becomes her teacher and begins introducing her to the world of murder for hire. Great characters are fundamental to a movie's architecture. No matter how good the story might be or how visually pleasing it is, if the characters aren't engaging then the audience won't care for it. In Leon, Luc Besson provides a mini treasure trove of some of cinema's most revered characters. Let's start with the movie's chief antagonist, Norman Stansfield, played by the legend that is Gary Oldman. Stansfield is a terrifying individual. He's a corrupt and psychotic DEA agent in charge of the team that murders Matilda's family, and what makes him so scary is how unpredictable he is. He is the personification of a rampaging tornado, leaving nothing but chaos and devastation in his wake. He's constantly chewing down pills and is teetering right on the edge of pure, unadulterated and relentless insanity. He pays Matilda's father to hold on to drugs for him and his crew, but when it's discovered that the drugs have been tampered with, Stansfield gives the order to go scorched earth on them all. It's a scene that is shockingly violent and exceptionally visceral. Gary Oldman brings so many interesting and bizarre quirks to his character, and his performance is perfect for this role. It just very nearly tips over into an overplayed performance, but ever the professional, Oldman just knows how far he can take it so it doesn't fall into the ridiculous. Every scene that he's in is a winner, and his character has some excellent lines of dialogue, and my favourite has to be this belter of a line.
Bring me everyone. What do you mean everyone?
As good as Gary Oldman is in this though, the screen most definitely belongs to Reno and Natalie Portman. Reno gives a striking performance as Leon. The character is a living, breathing deadly weapon, capable of taking control of any volatile situation he finds himself in and expunging anyone who stands in his way. The opening hit introduces us to his tradecraft, dispatching targets with swift and violent precision and following his orders to the letter. Once the job is complete, we get a window into his normal daily life and persona. While Leon is without a doubt highly skilled at his profession, he is mentally slow and emotionally repressed. He spends his days staying in shape, tending to his plant, managing his house duties, and engages in his seemingly only hobby of enjoying old movies at the cinema. His life is devoid of any meaningful social interactions and leads a lonely existence. That is, until he saves Matilda from certain death. Natalie Portman was 11 years old when she was cast for the role of Matilda, and Leon was her film debut. She absolutely aced it. Matilda is such a tragic character, and Portman really brings this character to life. After discovering what Leon does for a living, she sees him as her means to an end. To her, he's the conduit that she can use to get the revenge that she so desperately craves, and begs Leon to teach her the trade. Leon refuses and even comes close to executing her that night while she sleeps, but regardless of his cold-blooded nature, he does have a very strict set of rules that he adheres to.
No women, no kids. That's the rules.
After much pushback and an incident at Leon's apartment complex, Leon reluctantly takes her under his wing. Their arrangement is very simple. Leon teaches her the tools and the discipline of being a hitman, or cleaner as he refers to it, and Matilda does all of the chores and even teaches Leon how to read, a skill that he's been bereft of all of his life. However, their relationship soon turns into something far more uncomfortable. Matilda believes she's fallen in love with Leon, and this complication places Leon in a very precarious situation. I rewatched both the theatrical cut and the director's cut of Leon, and the theatrical cut is a lot more palatable in regards to this particular story thread. It's still challenging, but nowhere near as overt as the director's cut. Quite simply, the director's cut goes a lot further, even containing a scene where Matilda offers herself to Leon. Thankfully, Leon rejects her and stays within his identity of anti-hero rather than villain. But the scene isn't without any relevant substance. We do get a rather important piece of exposition where Leon explains why he's been alone for most of his adult life, and this sort of gracefully brings the tension back down for us. As for Natalie Portman's acting in this scene, it's really spectacular. She plays it exactly like a girl who's trying to behave how she thinks an adult should be acting. But the question is, should this scene have been filmed at all? It's an incredible showcase of acting talent from both actors, but the whole thing definitely didn't sit well with me at all. The director's cut also contains a few more scenes of Leon teaching Matilda his profession, and I think if they had integrated these scenes in with the theatrical cut and chopped out all those very awkward ones, then I think we would have gotten a much more well-rounded and accessible movie. Visually speaking, Leon is absolutely gorgeous to watch. Its opening shot where the camera sweeps over the top of Central Park and opens up to show that towering New York skyline never fails to grab my hand and pull me into its world. Besson's directing paired with Thierry Arbogast's cinematography is one of the movie's greatest strengths. It's filled with eye-popping shots like the aforementioned opening scene, and there's great tangible depth to them. I love the shot where Leon and Matilda are on the roof for her rifle training. The framing of that impressive skyline and the balance of foreground and background is perfection. The POV shot where Stansfield stares at Matilda's father cleverly shows us that he's seeing reality differently to the rest of us, and the movie is just filled with great shots like this throughout, right up until its explosive finale. Heavy spoiler warning for the ending. The sequence where Leon meets his end is just beautifully sad. Set to Eric Serra's track Two Ways Out, Leon makes his way out of the building, the light at the end of the corridor inching closer to him with each step. But behind him, Stansfield follows, gun drawn and aimed right at the back of his head. Leon's POV shot of the white flash, a pause and a tumble to the ground in time with the falling piano keys is magnificent, and so is the scene where Stansfield finally gets his comeuppance.
Shit.
The movie really is the embodiment of the phrase every frame a painting, in my opinion. It's meticulously crafted from every aspect of the movie making process, and it deserves its iconic status. It's brutal, shocking and challenging, and for me it's one of the greatest films I've ever seen.